welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff, coming to you live from our home at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text, or leave a voice note at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. It's Friday, October 31st. It's Halloween.
Ooh.
Dan Schaefer will be here from the recombobulation area, also Civic Media's political editor after the 9:30 news. Lots of things to talk about, including the latest poll from the Marquette University Law School. People in Wisconsin don't want to talk about elections, is my big takeaway from the poll from Marquette.
Hey, Jane, sometimes we don't want to talk about elections.
Yeah, but so who are the front runners as we're many months away yet from the mayoral elections, gubernatorial elections, all those things?
Governors. Not,
Governor, not mayoral.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that with Dan. Along with many other things, City of Milwaukee considering cracking down on people with lots of parking tickets. Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Audio sorbet, we're going to do Halloween related.
Again, there we go.
It
Halloween week.
It's Halloween week.
Oh, baby.
Audio sorbet, yes.
Oh.
Nice. We will talk about great Halloween costumes, best Halloween costume you ever wore.
Yeah.
One you saw that really impressed you. I've seen some amazing displays in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Our across the street neighbor, I saw them like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, what are they doing? And then at the end of the day, I was like, oh, wow, it's a display.
Yeah, there are some folks who put so much work into it. It's amazing. And we're also going to do a little shout out to a song which debuted 50 years ago today with a special homage. A very special homage to
artistic homage.
Yes, it's like the epitome of taste.
Yes.
That will be coming up in Audio Sorbet, and we'll wrap it up as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today, the Smashing Pumpkin edition. Stick around for that. Going to start off with SNAP benefits. Will be coming to an end tomorrow. It's interesting, depending upon where you get your news, you're hearing vastly different explanations about why we are here.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's important to point out that in the big blob of a bill that the Republicans passed earlier this year, the big blob of a bill cut $187 billion from SNAP through 2034. I think that's an important point.
Yeah.
Which, again, depending upon where you get your news, you might not be hearing these numbers. But yes, the Republicans cut $187 billion, or about 20%, from the federal SNAP budget through 2034. And then this little tidbit that I found this morning from Newsmax, Rob Schmidt, anchor at Newsmax, talking to Senator Ron Johnson.
Oh.
Wisconsin's very own.
Our senator who's been there longer.
He's been there long. Yes. Rob Schmidt said to Ron Johnson this morning, or rather on Newsmax, people are using SNAP benefits to get their nails done, to get their weaves and their hair done.
Yeah.
This is a really ugly program. Senior Senator Ron Johnson says that program needs to be dramatically reformed. Ron Johnson could have said, that's not true. You can't use your SNAP benefits to get your nails done or your weave, nice little throw in of the racism there, or your weave done. That's not how SNAP works.
The dog whistles that have been thrown out from various Republican, GOP, way right-leaning pundits, politicians, whomever, has been brazen.
Yeah.
I mean, a dog whistle, I guess, isn't brazen because it's
supposed to be disguised.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
But they're just whipping them out like it's nobody's business. I've heard them refer to ghettos. I've heard the weave, the smoking crack comments. Like, just say it. Tell us who you think uses SNAP and apparently only uses SNAP, which is, of course, untrue, as we've talked to farmers who use SNAP benefits.
And the ACA.
So this notion, this narrative you want to write that that the laziest, worst dregs of society are the only ones using these benefits. And now we know who you think those people are. Congratulations. And Ron Johnson, good job on not calling him out on the dog whistling or the fact that you cannot use SNAP to get your nails done. I mean, help me take you just a little seriously, Mr. Johnson.
No.
Just a little bit.
No. He's got to go along with their program.
Yeah.
And trying to frame a narrative around SNAP users.
Mm-hmm.
Again, on Newsmax.
It's 21st century welfare queen.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's
That's exactly what it is. On Newsmax, anchor Rob Schmidt, talking to Ron Johnson, said people are using SNAP to get their nails done, to get their weaves and their hair done. And our Rojo says, yes, that program needs to be dramatically reformed.
And that also upsets me too. There's nothing there. There's no plan. There's no suggestions. There's no speculation. It's like, yeah,
yes,
we should look at that.
So let's cut a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Oh, they did that already.
Well, Jane, what they're doing is they're saving it. They're securing
right,
it.
by cutting
ensuring.
it. Right.
Those are the words we use.
Right. Then I stumbled on this morning. This is from notice.org. The U.S. Department of Agriculture had a plan to keep SNAP going during a government shutdown by using contingency funds. But amazingly, the document that laid out that plan is now gone from the U.S. Department of Agriculture website.
Shocking.
This administration is doing this a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just removing things.
Disappearing
Information. Completely, in some cases, attempting to alter history by disappearing things.
Well, luckily, a silver lining in as much as the money, the discretionary funds that are set aside to fund SNAP actually still do exist. They're just not going to be used. Whether or not the document's available, I mean, that's important to have in your possession.
Well, it's just to say we have a plan.
Yeah,
there is a plan.
Yeah, but they have but the money will most likely not be released, and then the question has been pointed towards, at least in matters of Wisconsin and our food share program. The question is, okay, state legislators, governor, whomever. What are you going to do to ensure that these individuals will get their benefits? And depending on who you listen to, once again, depending on where you get your news, there are some folks who want to lay all the blame at Tony Evers' doorstep because he's not utilizing COVID funding that's out there. There is approximately $373 and this is, by the way, a CBS 58, $373 million remain unspent, but not for long because the State Legislative Fiscal Bureau told CBS 58 that the money is obligated, which could include funding for activities that have been completed or are just waiting for reimbursement. So that money might be earmarked for other things, that we don't just have $373 million just sitting like we do a surplus.
Right.
But
when we got that COVID money, there are constrictions.
There are parameters.
There are parameters on where and how this money can be used.
But also, just because we have $373 million doesn't mean it can be even used for anything. It can be scheduled for something right now anyway. So you can look at that money, that's fine, but we can't just go to that bank and withdraw it. And then surplus, $4+ billion, $4.5 billion.
Yep.
We could definitely pull, I think it's the $117 million needed to fund food share here in Wisconsin. Well, Mary Felskowski, state senator and state Senate president, has said can't, not our problem.
Yeah, can't do that. It's a Fed thing.
It's a federal problem.
It's a Fed thing.
So the frustration, my point is that, like, if you want to be angry at Tony Evers for not using COVID funding, then you have to be angry at Mary Felskowski for not wanting to use surplus funding. I'm frustrated. Like the COVID funding, I feel like there's far more nuance to that discussion as far as utilizing those funds than just saying, take it. But the surplus, once again, sitting there right in front of us, not being used to fund a great deal of things. But this is one I feel like, talk about a situation which needs emergency funding, and we have way more than we need to fund this. There's nothing wrong with that. And I shame on you, Mary Felskowski. to say that this is and Democrat. It's a federal problem and it's the Democrats' fault. That was what she said to Matt Smith on Upfront. It's a federal problem and it's the Democrats' fault.
If you're just joining us on Matenaer On Air, we are talking about SNAP benefits, which are going to be going away tomorrow. And as a reminder, the big blob of a bill that Republicans passed earlier this year, which was going to fix all our problems, cut $187 billion, 20% from the SNAP budget through 2034. Lots of money.
Yeah.
Lots of money. A column from Paul Krugman says these drastic cuts in food stamps and healthcare programs are central planks in Project 2025. Yes, they are. That is indeed the Trump administration's policy platform. These planks were written into the one big blob of a bill that they passed last summer.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the plan.
Yes. And it's part of a plan that we have been talking about for over a year now. And I don't want to get into the place of pointing fingers or I told you so. That solves nothing. Solves absolutely nothing. But we were given their play. This is like when the opposing team finds the playbook. We were given the playbook, and it for some reason did not move the needle for some people, and it was denied by others. And the president lied about it.
Yeah.
And here we are a year later, and they have enacted, and depending on who you talk to, some will say 30, some will say 70, but a good chunk of what was proposed in that 900-page plus book has been and is going to be implemented. And most of it through the budget.
Yeah, absolutely. Roger on the live stream says, ask Ron Johnson how many people have been arrested and prosecuted for having their nails or their weaves done using SNAP. That's the thing, Roger. They don't ever have to back it up.
No.
With, like, proof.
No.
All they need to say, like Mike Johnson has said repeatedly, is he knows it inherently.
Yeah.
He just knows it within the fiber of his being, like they know about voter fraud. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud, particularly related to the 2020 election. No evidence. None. Zippo. Zero. We spent millions looking for it. Didn't find it. And yet Mike Johnson still knows intuitively, inherently, in his gut that it's happening.
I mean, Jane, some people are saying, I've heard.
Many people are saying
Many people are saying, people are reporting. That's all individuals need now to just, and this is a problem across the board. Our confirmation biases are quelled by faces we trust saying very little or backing up very little. But the problem is when you give them any details, they'll tell you you're lying. It's AI. It's fake news. Even though I have the details and this guy just says, I think you can do your nails with Snap.
Yeah, no, you can't. Join the conversation at 855-752-4842. You are listening to Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network. morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Sweet Galby on the board. Coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up after the 9:30 news, we'll start recombobulating with Dan Schaefer, creator of the multi-award-winning Recombobulation Area, also Civic Media's political editor. Among the many things we're going to kick around, the latest results from the Marquette University Law School poll. My big takeaway is nobody wants to think about elections right now. That's kind of what it is.
And also, Dan published a piece in the Recombobulation Area about Mandela Barnes and the election as well, because that's sort of
He
just
came out really well on that poll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we'll be talking about that when Dan gets here in just a little bit, but that's going to be another discussion. And yep, we are officially in election season again. My God, can't we get a day off?
No, Wisconsin is constantly. We're constantly in that cycle. Before we went to the break, we were talking about SNAP benefits, which are going to be ending tomorrow. U.S. Department of Agriculture did have a plan to keep SNAP running during a government shutdown by using contingency funds. The whole document that was up on their website, whoosh, now it's gone.
Magic.
Interesting how that happens.
I mean, that's right up their alley. That's something they've been doing with a lot of things, documents, changing the Constitution, changing Smithsonian display. Like it's whatever doesn't fit them, they get rid of. But the problem is, Jane, is that we're not robots who are reprogrammed every morning with no memory. When they get rid of things, not only do people notice, that is what makes the news then.
Yes. When you try to disappear stuff and make it go away.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are people who still recall.
Yes.
So amazing. The other problem, tomorrow, enrollment begins for the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
Also known as Obamacare.
Ooh, Obamacare.
They're the same thing in case people think they aren't.
No, Jane, that's not what I was told.
Yeah, the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are one and the same.
Yeah.
This article from Politico, Republicans barreling toward the enrollment period without a unified plan to address the sticker shock that millions of Americans are expected to face when they get their premiums.
Hold on, I'm referring to my notes right now. What happened to 2 weeks?
A great new plan in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Repeal and replace.
I was told repeal, replace, ... 2 weeks, ... winning.
Concepts of a plan.
Concepts of a plan.
Yeah, they don't have a plan.
No, they don't.
They've had 15 years since the Affordable Care Act was passed.
My goodness gravy.
And they got up to the repeal part. They were all ready to repeal Obamacare. Remember that?
Well, I do remember the House during Obama's time, like I think over 120 times voted to repeal Obamacare, died in the Senate every single time. It was nothing more than a show. It was performative and did nothing.
Did nothing.
And yet we have nothing to replace it with.
Well, and exactly. So again, they were ready to repeal it, except for the vote of John McCain, who stopped that. They were going to repeal it. They didn't have a plan then.
No.
And they still don't have a health care plan. I saw one Republican, it might have been John Kennedy, very folksy guy.
Yeah.
He thinks we should just go back to what things were like beforehand with high risk pools, meaning that we can go back to the days when insurance companies could refuse to cover you because you had a pre-existing condition. I don't know, like pregnancy.
Let's, that doesn't surprise it always seems that the best solution they have is going back to the old days. And really when it comes down to it, it's never a thing of, there's no buy-in for them. There's no expectation for them because one, they have some of the most amazing healthcare in the world.
Oh, you mean our elected officials?
Our elected officials.
Congress says,
And even if they didn't, they still have enough money where a hospital/doctor bill wouldn't ruin and or bankrupt them. So for them to say, let's just go back to the old days. What was wrong with that?
Yeah, everything was so great.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Yeah, I'm wanting to look up really quick Senator John Kennedy as far as how much money he's taken from the healthcare industry, because that's the other thing too. the moment they start advocating for a system which doesn't put the American people first, it's always like, how much money is that industry putting into your pocket then?
Well, and then all of a sudden, I've heard Republicans in the last couple of weeks, as we've been heading towards this cliff, talking about, well, we don't want insurance companies to get rich. You don't?
I mean,
really?
They're pretty darn good at getting rich. They're getting rich all the time. Their quarters are like tens of billions of dollars. Like,
they're doing fine.
Even if they made no money next year, they'd probably still be fine.
Yeah. Lori from Hayward texting in says, Jane, I think people are taking the page out of J.D. Vance's Book of Lies. Remember, he admitted on live TV he was lying, talking about Haitian Americans eating people's pets. He admitted that was a lie. J.D. Vance admitted he was telling a lie just to make people listen. That's what Ron Johnson and many other Republicans are doing now. Yes, they are blatantly lying.
And he is, and he is bringing that back up again. He has brought the Haitian thing back up in interviews. And yeah, look at that. Oshner Health Systems has given him $41,145.
Oh, John Kennedy?
Yeah, John Kennedy. I'm trying. Yeah, it's so he's got a little bit of buy-in with them. So it's advantageous for him to plump for the business. Yeah. Oh, and LHC, it's a hospice home care group, has given him $50,000.
Oh, geez. In these days of bribes, that's almost a pittance.
It's a drop in the bucket.
We have news coming up next, and then when we return, Dan Schaefer will be here for all things recombobulation. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Check.
Good morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Good morning, live stream. Thank you for joining us. It's Friday, so Dan Schaefer is here. Civic Media's political editor and the creator of the Recombobulation Area. Good morning.
Good morning, Jane. Wonderful to be here with you on Matenaer On Air.
On Halloween, we'll do some lighter things about an hour from now during Audio Sorbet. We'll talk all things Halloween.
Wonderful.
I'm curious to hear about your experience with your daughters.
Okay.
And I saw some photos that you posted.
Oh,
so
we had some good stuff from
there was
last
good
weekend.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
But lots going on. Let's talk. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Mandela Barnes, or should we talk about the poll?
Well, there's much to discuss
Much
this
to
week.
kick around.
Lots to recombobulate.
There's
on.
many things.
As always, a discombobulating week in Wisconsin.
No doubt.
Let's start with Mandela Barnes. Let's
Okay.
start with the candidate looming over the Democratic primary right now, his pending decision on what he is going to do, if he is going to run for governor in 2026, if he is going to pass on this one. All signs right now seem to point to Barnes running again. So I decided that needed to take a little deep dive in a Recombobulation Area piece published this morning called Barnes 22 Revisited. So as Barnes flirts with a potential statewide run, I think it warrants reassessing the campaign that he ran in 2022 when he lost by just 1%.
Yeah, it was
27,000 votes.
It was tight.
To Ron Johnson. And kind of my big thesis, I suppose, with this, if anything, is that I think Mandela Barnes' campaign was both underrated and overrated at the same time. Underrated for many of the reasons that he has been unfairly maligned for when people talk about this race, because there's a lot of data that suggests he did not run a uniquely poor campaign.
Right.
It's just Wisconsin and he lost a coin flip, and we can get into some of the details within that too. But I think also if you look back to some of the decisions made in that campaign, some of the ads that they ran, some of the way the messaging was, some of the approach that the overall campaign took with this too safe, risk averse, we don't really want to say anything bold or buzzy or whatever.
Right.
I think there were problems with that too. So that's what the column really gets into. Just published this morning at the Recombobulation Area. This one does have a paywall about halfway through, so you do have to subscribe to read this one.
It's so worth it, and it's really a deal.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is a deal.
Yes,
And you
it
can
is
get
a
a free
deal.
trial if you just want to read this
There
one.
you go.
There you go.
I just lost myself some money there. But
So what? In what ways was he underappreciated in the way that he ran his campaign?
yeah, so I think there's a lot of data that suggests, in Wisconsin, it's always going to be any statewide race is going to be in that toss-up category.
Right.
Neither party has the inherent advantage like you would see in many other states. And so then I think because it was a Republican advantage midterm. People forget this because Democrats did better than expected.
Right.
But when your leader is in the White House, when you control the White House, the out party tends to do better in the midterms. This is what history has shown us over and over again. Democrats did well 2006 and 2018 in those regards. Republicans did extremely well in 2010, also 2014. But in 2022, I think, part of it was because of the Dobbs decision that energized a lot of Democratic voters at the time. But also just there was not a lot of great candidates. And Democrats won a lot of these Senate races, but lost in Wisconsin. And I think That is, obviously what it comes back to with Barnes, with when people are having a little bit of this consternation about him running again because he lost, right?
Right.
But I think, he was the closest Senate race in 100 years. He was running against an extremely well-funded two-term incumbent. I think as much as we dislike Ron Johnson as a senator, he is not a good senator. He's good at winning elections.
Yeah, he sure is.
He has kind of been the Republican who has really bridged the last, era of Republican politics from kind of the Tea Party wave that he came in on in 2010, from, just being like business guy, Tea Party Republican, to the conspiracy theory, lunatic, MAGA guy.
He is today.
that he is today.
Yeah.
But I think that has been where the party has shifted over the past 15 years, and he has encapsulated that shift in a lot of ways. So he ran ahead of Donald Trump in 2016 in Wisconsin when he beat Russ Feingold for a second time. He won this. So I think people might look at Ron Johnson, see, hey, he's the kooky uncle who's on Fox News saying all this crazy stuff. He's been good at winning elections.
Well, and he's really good. Again, I give Republicans a lot of credit for their marketing.
Sure.
Because I saw this the other day on social media. What has Tammy Baldwin ever done for Wisconsin? And I think of all of the federal dollars Tammy Baldwin has brought back to our state for farmers and construction workers and bringing jobs and all of those things. And I just think Democrats have a hard time going, look what I did.
And
look at the thing.
There is an inherent problem there because, first of all, I want to go back to something you just said. Let us not forget that Ron Johnson beat Russ Feingold.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
The fact that he won once, we thought, oh, fluke. Russ Feingold will come back in, and he lost again. Russ Feingold, for those who don't know, don't remember, Democratic senator titan in this state. I mean, known for his policies, known for his rhetoric, known to put the money where the mouth is, all those things. The fact that Ron Johnson in the first election came in as a measured businessman, and by his second reelect, he was now just
everything changed.
Ruined conspiracy theorist.
He went to Moscow for the 4th of July.
But the thing is that what you were saying, Jane, I think is very, very important, and I think that Democrats really need to figure it out someday. Is that when they achieve something and they want to do something policy-wise, they think the best way of doing that is getting in front of you and talking about it for what seems like a decade. They love to explain. They're never happier than when they're trying to teach you something. Whereas Ron Johnson, and this was told to me by a friend of mine who is a consultant in D.C., Ron Johnson just simply said, do you like candy? I love candy. I'll give you candy.
Yeah.
Vote for me, candy. And people were like, I like candy. So it's about taking all of those wins from Tammy Baldwin. And same problem with Tony Evers, too. Not enough standing on the podium, doing victory laps, because it's hard to put these kind of non-sexy, boring things into context and make it look good and feel good and make you go, oh, awesome. That's the problem that Democrats face.
But it blows my mind that we can have someone like Tom Tiffany who voted against the Infrastructure Act, but then he'll go and stand in front of the Blotnick Bridge and say, look what I did for Wisconsin, when he actively voted against the measure that is bringing the improvements to the Blotnick Bridge. That makes me crazy.
Is that for Tammy Baldwin to stand up and go, hey, you can't be here? She'll never do that. She will never do that.
Of
and
course
Democrats would probably be like, you can't do that. But Dan, tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, as one Democrat put it to me once, if you take three sentences to explain something, you've already lost.
Yeah.
You're losing.
And that is such a common problem with Democratic politics, because you have to these subsidies go to take down your healthcare costs and if you're explaining, you're losing. So that is often the case. So I think, just to get back to the Barnes thing here too, is that Johnson was a pretty good candidate, as much as we don't like him as a senator.
Right.
And I think, but he also had certain Wisconsin specific, Johnson specific failings and idiosyncrasies and all sorts of weirdness that they could have gone after. And I think the campaign that Barnes ran, that was this very on defense, safe, measured, backpedaling, hey, they're telling lies about me,
right,
type of campaign, whereas it wasn't a campaign against Ron Johnson the uniquely problematic senator. It was a campaign against generic Republican senator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that didn't work. And I think you have to have like a specific campaign in Wisconsin. You can't just run things here the way they are, consultantified and carbon copied across the rest of the country. It has to be.
You got to narrow your focus.
You have to understand the state.
Yeah.
And I don't think that their campaign entirely did.
If you're just joining us, Dan Schaefer is here, Civic Media's political editor, the creator of the Recombobulation Area. He joins us every Friday. You can join us as well at 855-752-4842. Cindy from Appleton has been waiting patiently. Good morning, Cindy. What did you want to say?
Well, first of all, Senator Johnson has done absolutely nothing for the state of Wisconsin, and I just don't realize why people can't figure that out. But as far as Mandela Barnes goes, no offense to anybody, but as a lieutenant governor, they really don't do anything. And I just don't believe he has the political experience to run for the governor.
Fair enough. Thank you, Cindy.
And that's something, too, that I think I've discussed with the both of you, either on air or off air, is that, he ran in 22. If an office was something he was seeking, you would think he'd be there more in the line side of interviews to talk about politics. He's doing great advocacy and community service work. I'm not taking that away from him.
Yes.
But if you want to seek that office, then you have to put yourself in the right place. And what it seems like to me is that, I don't know if you've heard differently, Dan, but it seems like we're now talking about this because of a poll from a couple weeks ago that had him at 16%. No one had him in the station, really. And now all of a sudden, because of that, we're talking about it. And to me, that's not why you seek office. It's not because people think you're cool. It's because you want to do something. And I didn't get that from Mandela Barnes after he lost in 22. He went and did his other stuff, but I didn't feel like he was going to run again.
This is why I think if he does run again, it has to be a different campaign.
Yes.
I think you can't run it back and do it the same way as he did last time. Not just because he lost. And again, I think he overcame a lot of obstacles. He faced a lot of ridiculous, over-the-top racist ads throughout that campaign.
Yes.
He was running to make history as Wisconsin's first black senator. Like that, there's a lot that there was an uphill battle in a lot of ways. He was the underdog going against a well-funded two-term incumbent who had the Hendrickson Uline PAC throwing tens of millions of dollars that there was no equivalent to on his side.
Right.
There was a lot of things working against him, but I think also he could have won if he ran a slightly better campaign. He left a win on the board there, and I think that is what so many people are frustrated. So if I still think he has a promising future in politics in Wisconsin, but if he's going to do this political comeback, which frankly hasn't worked for a lot of people in Wisconsin lately.
No, it hasn't.
It has to be different. It cannot be the same type of campaign. It has to be a different type of message. And so I think that's what he and his team have to be thinking about right now. If they are planning an announcement, if they are planning to run here, how is this going to be different? And how can we let people know right out of the gate, this is a different thing. We have learned from our mistakes last time. We are doing things differently. Let's go. I think it has to be so different.
We're going to continue with Dan Schaefer. If you would like to join us, give us a call or send in a text or leave a voice note at 855-752-4842. Gene, I see you there. We will take you when we come back. You are listening to Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. morning and welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Sweet Calby on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call, text, leave a voice note at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching in the live stream. Good morning, live stream.
Hello.
On Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter, Dan Schaefer is here to help us recombobulate, Civic Media's political editor. Also, just a reminder to subscribe to our completely free and pretty darn fabulous Civic Media Today.
Civic Media Today, a snapshot of everything going on in the network, whether it's podcasts, shows, fun stories by Dan Schaefer.
Yes.
Links it right here. It's all available at Civic Media Today. Go to civicmediatoday.substack.com and subscribe for free and tell a friend.
Look at, boy, that was good.
Thank you very
That was
much.
really
You
good.
listening, WBA?
We're going to
Submit
clip
that.
that and submit, because I'm very involved with Civic Media Today. I edit Civic Media Today. I'm going to use that as our main promo there, Greg.
Yes, that's our ad right there.
My quasi-threat to another organization.
But it's seriously, it's a great snapshot of what is going on across all of the shows. Even, Earl Ingram and the podcast and all of those things.
And our news, like
And our
headlines
news.
from around the state from all of our news team.
Yeah.
And then Shelly Pittman, our news director, puts together this, just kind of like, here's what's going on around the state, what we're watching today. It's a great way to find a lot of Wisconsin news, connect
Yes.
to all of our shows.
Yep. Civic Media
Today.
Today,
Dot.
Substack.com.
There it is.
That's what you want to do. We'll put that in the show notes. Right before the break, we were talking about the Wisconsin races and the race for governor, Governor Evers, Tony Evers, not running again. And so we were talking about Mandela Barnes. Jean from Eau Claire has been waiting very patiently. Good morning, Jean. What do you want to say about this?
Hi, great topic. I just want to say, first I want to clarify something because they always do this to people in a nonchalant way, this type of thing, that Tammy Baldwin never did anything for us. I've never seen anybody work as hard as her
Yep.
except for
Yep.
Russ Feingold. And I watch Russ Feingold. Believe me, I've been watching this stuff for years, and the lies and the deceptions. These people are masters of deceptions, and they got a lot of bucks put in to help them keep control of our country and our state. And it started in our state and moved up to the federal government. We got to move those people out that are associated with what happened with Scotty Walker, and now they're doing it when they're federal government. Ron Johnson is a master of deception and lies. And one of the things that I've seen him do, which I really do believe helps to support that once people run, they don't get another chance, because they use the dirtiest techniques that I have ever seen in my life, like putting Mandela Barnes at that parade when the guy went through with the cars and the parade, and then they put pictures of Mandela by, that what happened there, like he was involved
Right.
in it. It was
Yeah.
sick, and I couldn't get that out of my head. They use a lot of really rotten things to get you to see something horrifying and put the person with it. And people got to realize the people that are doing the horrifying things are the ones setting it up,
Yeah.
like Ron Johnson, who don't give a nothing about the people in the state of Wisconsin. That's my personal opinion,
Yeah.
folks. That's my opinion. So thank you very much. And in fact, he was up there the other day, and I just about choked. He was up there saying how he was on a list, an enemies list by Biden, and,
Oh, my
because
God.
he was looked into. I couldn't believe it. I thought, holy Moses, isn't anybody seeing this? He was saying that he was on an enemies list, and they were checking his January 6th phone calls.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron Johnson is all over any cable channel he can get on, talking about the fact that, yes, this is all about the January 6th attack on the Capitol and who was getting contacted and who was getting called. And we know Donald Trump was calling lawmakers when this was going on. So
Yeah.
that's what that is related to. But yes,
They're trying to overturn the election. Seems like something to investigate.
it
I
does,
don't know.
It does seem worthy of
Yeah,
investigation.
trying
But
to end democracy. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but
you know.
going back to Mandela Barnes, yes, they used some racist tropes
They certainly did.
in running against him.
They
did.
certainly did.
Yes.
They had I believe there was a mailer where they darkened his skin color. They put his name next to a crime scene in one of these ads. I think that Gene was alluding to there. a bunch of Milwaukee legislators came out talking about how racist these ads were in real time. Angela Lang wrote a piece at the recombobulation area in real time talking about how this was. And so I think, he faced obstacles a lot of other candidates wouldn't
Right.
because of that. And
Yeah.
so I think you have to consider that piece of it, consider the factoring that into the larger calculus of things. He was running against, running against an incumbent to make history. Like, there was a lot of difficult things there. And I think there was a comment on our live stream about,
I'm going to bring this up right
Barnes
now.
too.
Ms. Artie T says Barnes got 48,223 fewer votes than Evers and lost to Johnson by 26,255. Because Barnes couldn't get the necessary Democratic votes, we need another candidate. Thank you for that comment, Ms. Artie.
Yeah, so I do want to address a piece of that, too. So John Johnson of Marquette University, very smart guy, does a lot of really in-depth research. He wrote a piece after the 2022 election talking about Barnes' campaign and the fact that, why is it that Wisconsin elected Tony Evers by 3.5% and Barnes lost by 1%? And really what he calculated in this was the force of incumbency, and which he calculated to be about a 2% net effect. So 2% advantage for Tony Evers, 2% disadvantage for Mandela Barnes.
Wow, yeah.
And that explains that kind of 4-ish% discrepancy, that 40-some thousand votes that the folks on the live stream identified as that being different. And now incumbency was a really big factor across the board in Wisconsin that year. There were not a single incumbent lost in November 22 out of the 90 running in the state legislature and statewide
That's a
and where
lot.
else. So incumbents just did not lose that year at all. And so we have to incorporate
Remember
that into
that.
understanding it. Yeah.
We have news coming up next. We will continue recombobulating with Dan Schaefer, Civic Media's political editor. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the vast, statewide, countrywide. You can pick us up around the world on the Civic Media Radio Network. Don't go away. morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff, coming to you live from our home at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Good morning, live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. It is Friday, so Dan Schaefer is here, Civic Media's political editor and the creator of the Recombobulation Area. Just want to remind folks, Saturday night, before you go to bed, turn your clocks back 1 hour. What?
Okay. You have clocks to turn back.
I have clocks.
I know you
Am I
do.
the only one who has clocks?
I think we
I
talked
have
about
a
this.
clock to turn back.
You have a clock?
A clock.
I
Yeah.
have no clocks, honestly. I'm just thinking about this right now. I have no clock. Well, I don't count the
Just-
microwave.
Okay, so you don't count those.
I don't look for the time on the microwave.
But you don't have actual clocks?
I don't have clocks.
Oh, God, I have a lot of clocks.
Yeah. I have a clock. One clock.
A clock.
A clock.
And
I have
Singular.
like 20 clocks.
All of the other clocks.
So
and now
I'll be busy Saturday night, but
Yeah.
maybe the rest of you won't.
What are you doing Saturday night? I'm winding and resetting my clocks.
Daylight-
always a tough time of year for parents, too. Kids don't know that time is changing.
Neither do pets.
Neither do pets.
Neither do pets.
Oh,
Ugh.
no.
Her feeding time, she's going to be staring at you
She
for an
can-
hour.
She can learn to feed herself.
Till she. Anyway, daylight saving time comes to an end this weekend. So Saturday night, before you go to bed, turn your clock back 1 hour. We get to sleep in an extra hour on Sunday,
People
And
who
then-
don't have kids do.
and then it's going to be dark at 4 o'clock. So
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that.
that is the reality of it. So anyway, it's just a
where
little
we're at.
reminder.
Yeah,
That is where
thanks,
we
Jane.
are. So let's. I am the killer of joy. This is my job. I am the stomper of joy. 7 takeaways from the October 2025 Marquette poll.
Yeah.
Another great column in the recombobulation area. So that came out this week.
A lot
Can
of
I
words
just-
this week.
Can
Yeah.
I just say thank you for when you do this one? Because I love the Marquette poll, but when I see the Marquette poll, it's like saying to yourself, I'm going to read the Odyssey. And you're like, no, I'm not. This has got a lot of words. You look at this thing and you always do a wonderful job of breaking it down and making it so my brain of cats can understand it.
Well, I appreciate that, Greg.
Yeah.
Than's the goal, right? I translate detailed polling,
But-
data into something that people can read and understand.
But there's so much information in there.
They do so much beyond just like the horse race.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
candidate is winning, which candidate has the high approval rating, whatever. They talk
Yeah.
about the issues. They talk about the trends. There's so much there. So I think, as I wrote in the piece, there's really no meaningful information about the Democratic primary so far.
Yeah.
Like
Nobody wants to think about it
Nobody's
yet.
paying attention to it yet at all. A lot of these candidates are not that well known statewide. It's 81% was undecided in this, and so it's just like, what am I gonna? And the margin of error was over 6%, and all of the candidates were within the margin of error. There's nothing really to be learned from that. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to it.
What did they
but
talk
there's
to,
nothing
10
be learned
people?
from that. They talked to, I think the sample was like 400 people.
No
And
kidding.
for the Democratic side, it was like 400 for Democratic side, 400 for the Republican side, and the 81% was undecided. So it's just like, well, what are you going to do? I was interested to learn who might be ahead so far, but nobody is. So we'll just move it along. So there's nothing really to be gained from that. I think the issue poll, there is a lot of really interesting issue polling here, and a lot of stuff that you guys have been talking about on the show here on Matenaer On Air in particular. Inflation and cost of living still way, way out ahead as the top issue that voters in Wisconsin are most concerned with. Ranked at almost 70% of voters said it was a very concerning issue, ranked as the most important issue for voters by far. And I think a lot of that is tied to another question that was asked in the poll about tariffs and about whether tariffs and Trump's policies are causing some of the inflation
Some of the higher
that
prices.
we're seeing now.
Sure.
And I think Wisconsin voters can see what's in front of them and can recognize that tariffs are hurting the economy and tariffs are making costs go up. And so in Wisconsin, again, we are this 50-50 divided state.
Right.
55% of registered voters said that tariffs are harming the U.S. economy. Only 33% said it helps the U.S. economy. Among, independents and Democrats, it's very, very much overwhelming to say that
hurting.
it hurts the economy. They also asked about whether it hurts farmers. We've been hearing a lot. You guys have been talking a lot on the show about how tariffs are impacting Wisconsin farmers. 62% of Wisconsin voters say that tariffs hurt Wisconsin farmers. Only 16% say they're helping Wisconsin farmers. And if you look at this by region, the Marquette poll breaks it down in kind of the major media markets in the state and then groups northern and western Wisconsin into one category. Only 12% of voters in northern and western Wisconsin say tariffs are helping farmers.
Wow.
That's where a lot of farming happens in Wisconsin, right? And so I think people can see what's in front of them. They might get these lies from the Trump administration saying that the tariffs are bringing, manufacturing and agriculture home. It's not.
No.
And people see what's in front of them. And I think this is an issue that Republicans are going to be very vulnerable on.
If you're just joining us on Matenaer On Air, we're talking to Dan Schaefer, Civic Media's political editor, also the creator of the Recombobulation Area, talking about the recent Marquette University Law School poll about the political situation in Wisconsin. I want to go back to messaging just for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And the Biden administration and even Kamala Harris got a lot of criticism leading up to the last election for not talking about prices and not admitting that prices were up. And that was a big mistake by not acknowledging. I'm sorry, at least in my estimation, we heard a lot from the Biden administration. Things are fine. Things are getting better. The economy is moving in the right direction. That was accurate. Yet they never said, we know groceries are expensive. Now we're seeing the other thing from the Republican Party, which is essentially the sky is green. Prices are down. Prices are down. Prices. Donald Trump says it almost on a daily basis. Groceries are down. Energy is down. Gas is down. That is blatantly untrue, and yet that seems to be the messaging that they are hammering.
And people believe it too. Then
they seem to
immediately.
Yeah, and but I do think that people in Wisconsin really do not like tariffs. There's a lot of these polls that you look at issue by issue over and over. It's partisanship colors it so much.
Yes.
And it is so much through a partisan lens. Like if you look at the shutdown, it's Democratic voters are blaming Republicans and Republican voters are blaming Democrats.
Sure.
That's how it's going. But if you look at this, like the fact that we have more than 60% of Wisconsinites often don't agree on things as much, saying that tariffs are hurting farmers. Like people can see the reality in front of them. It was the same as the case when the Biden administration was saying, inflation was it's better here than any other of the countries in the Western world. Again, we're taking 3 sentences to explain we're losing situation, but also it's just like it kind of dismisses people's very real concerns about how these prices are impacting their own families and their own lives.
Yep. And the problem is that we now live in such a news-centered, we live in such a place where you can get your news on such a deep confirmation bias that if someone takes that information and presents it to Tom Tiffany and says, what do you say to 60% of Wisconsinites saying that tariffs are hurting people? All he has to do is say, that's a liberal poll. I don't believe in that stuff. They don't know.
Reject
all
it.
they have to do is reject it outright. That's it, and never address the problem. Therefore, never having to give a real plan except for saying we're going to keep doing what we're doing because America's winning. Then we don't get the discussion that the Wisconsinites deserve in such a critical election coming up in such a critical time that will. I mean, let's face it. What are the odds in Vegas we'll have midterms? I'm asking that question for real. So with an election like governor's coming up, we need candidates who are going to answer the questions. And unfortunately, we now permit our candidates to just slough it off and move on without having to do anything except saying they like the orange guy. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to have to do more than that. I think any Republican candidate running in Wisconsin in the midterm this year is going to have to do more than that because people can see what's in front of them. People can see that the tariffs are impacting prices, that costs are still going up. There was kind of this interesting breakdown within the poll. There was a gender gap on the question of whether grocery prices go up.
Gee, who does the shopping?
Women more often said that grocery prices are going up, and particularly Republican men saying that grocery prices are not going up. There was a partisan gap on this, like there is with everything. Republican women don't say that prices are going up at the same level that Democratic women do. But at the same time, there was a significant gender gap there, which they pointed out in the poll, which I thought was very interesting.
Gee, what a shock.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I saw one Republican lawmaker on my social media from this morning saying, I don't understand why if you get SNAP benefits, which equals about $4,200 a year, that you can't survive on that. That's $350 a month. I just spent $48 on one bag of groceries last week.
Mm-hmm.
One bag for two people.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that $350 is going to carry a family of four for a month. Tell me you've never been into a grocery store. That guy.
Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys that's experiencing the gender gap in that poll.
Yeah,
Apparently.
most definitely.
I want to point out another thing too here about not just the issue polling. There's a poll they always do. They've started doing this thing at the Marquette poll now, where they basically poll the three branches of government in Wisconsin. So like poll approval rating for Tony Evers, approval rating for the state legislature, approval rating for this Wisconsin Supreme Court. So Tony Evers is a slight net positive, as he typically is, net +5 in the approval ratings. Wisconsin Supreme Court, as it typically has been, a slight positive as well, a net +6. The liberal-controlled Wisconsin Supreme Court.
I find that very interesting.
Yeah, why is that?
Just because, again, depending upon who you listen to, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. My goodness, there's nothing but Marxist, female, feminist, liberal, Marxist, socialists.
Don't forget Marxists.
On caravans.
Yeah, it turns out people are supporting of the people that they voted to put in office there on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The one branch of government that does not have a net positive approval rating is the Republican-controlled Wisconsin state legislature.
Shocker.
Yeah, they are a net -11. It is much wider than they are much worse viewed than any other branch of government in Wisconsin, and I think this matters more now because if we're kind of 1 year out now. That's what part of the thought of this poll here. What are the issues and candidates that matter 1 year out from the midterms? We're 1 year out. People are not approving of the Wisconsin state legislature. The gap is getting wider. Republicans have controlled this body for more than 15 years. Going into the 2026 election, this is the first chance that Wisconsin will have to elect a Democratic legislature with new maps in a generation. And so I think if you're looking at this, a big picture here, the fact that it is, and there is, a huge split down partisan lines on this. So the approval of the legislature +8 among Republicans, -9 among independents, -33 among Democrats. Who really do not like.
They only pulled Jeannie from Eau Claire.
Yeah, for sure. So going into 2026 with the trifecta possibility out there, the fact that the legislature has this approval rating and people see it through a partisan lens, I think that's a factor. I think it's a big deal.
And I'm just wondering for right now, we'll talk about it in the future, what it looks like if Robin Vos decides not to run again. That's a piece of the puzzle that will be interesting to see come forward.
Other than us throwing a party.
Dance party, new shoes. Stay close. We're going to keep recombobulating with Dan Schaefer. You are listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, our one, our only Cal Zone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. If you have the Civic Media app, which you absolutely should, download it for free at wherever you get your apps, and then you can leave a voice note as well. You can call and text and voice note directly from the Civic Media app, and we do some pretty fabulous contests.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Where you have to have the app if you want to play.
You have two really, Dan, put your phone down.
You can't play.
They're really great. So the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us, is great. The newsletter, civicmediatoday.substack.com, and then the Civic Media app, all free, all great ways of staying in touch, not only with Civic Media, but all of our individual networks around the Midwest.
Yeah.
So these are all free aspects. These are free resources, and it's about like getting your news, getting your music, getting your fun stuff, the podcast. Those are three great places to go. civicmedia.us, civicmedia.today.substack.com, and the app as well. Get them all in your life.
Do it. It's free. And
Please.
Again, there could be another fabulous contest coming soon.
Is it a text to win?
It would be
contest?
a multi-state text-to-win contest. And you have to have the app in order to play. So download it today. Civic Media. It's absolutely free. Like I said, Dan Schaefer is here from the recombobulation area and also Civic Media's political editor. In this article from Fox 6, Milwaukee's new towing rule, crackdown on unpaid parking tickets, starts on November 1st. A Milwaukee alderman talked about this upcoming enforcement. Any vehicle parked legally or illegally whose owners has not complied with parking tickets is going to be towed and impounded. Starting on January 1st of this year, the city is sending out 30,000 letters to people who qualify as habitual parking violators. So there's a lot of revenue sitting out there for these people who won't pay their tickets.
A lot of people who've got parking tickets in Milwaukee, that's for sure.
These are people with 5 or more tickets more than 60 days overdue.
How do you?
Yeah.
And isn't the average, because I've gotten a couple parking tickets over, they're $20, aren't they?
Something like that.
It
yeah.
depends.
And then
on,
it goes up the longer you wait.
Yes.
Yes.
The amount increases.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
Come
paid
on, just pay your tickets, people.
Yeah.
Well-
and I've seen like they started towing after what it was like 2 or 3 tickets there that you're able to tow. Like this is just kind of ramping that up in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever had to go to the Milwaukee tow lot?
I bet it's really a
Have
lovely
you guys,
experience.
either of you ever had to go to the Milwaukee tow lot?
No.
once, not because of parking tickets, because I got I had a spin out on a flat tire off of the national exit in West Dallas area.
Okay.
And there was no cell phone at the time.
Sure.
And I had to walk somewhere to find a phone. And when I came back, they towed my car. And so I had to go and I'm like, what did you do? Like, well, we had to get rid of it. It was in the way. I'm like, but my car now. And so I had to go to the lot and pay the money and all the things. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
And what did you have to pay to get it out?
Oh, I don't remember. These are like late 90s prices. So probably like
I was going to say 100, 150
Yeah,
bucks.
yeah.
So, I mean, that cannot be inexpensive.
No.
But
it's not also I lived on the east side.
Oh, well, there's
for
nowhere to
several
park.
years.
it should just
where-
come with parking tickets.
Like right up the hill off of Lafayette, by
Oh,
McKinley
God.
Marina. I used to live over there. We had to street park, so I got a lot of parking tickets. I mean, it was a lot of like snow parking or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
They will ticket you for any
anything.
little thing that you're going to screw up when you're
Yep.
parking on the east side. It's just kind of one of the charms of the neighborhood when you're living over there. So I did get towed. I got towed twice in the 6 or 7 years that I lived over there.
Oh.
So I got towed twice. I had to go have somebody give me a ride to that tow lot, sit there while they process it. Oh my gosh, is that an awful experience?
It can't be good.
Yeah. But the thing I get frustrated with sometimes is sometimes you don't know you get a parking ticket. Like the ticket will blow away. Or, like they clip it under your windshield wipers or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you'll get something in the mail, but it's like way later. It's like sometimes hard to
You miss it in the mail?
There needs to be like a better notification process for when people know that they have a parking ticket. Like everybody's got your like phone number and email address now. Like you're not hard to get
find.
a hold of.
Well, if your car is registered and
Yeah.
you have a license plate that's got valid plates, it should be linked to an email address. And as soon as they plug that ticket in, it goes directly to your email saying you got
Yeah.
a ticket. Congratulations. I think though you asked the question, why aren't people paying them? If there's not really good enforcement, what's the incentive?
Well,
then?
exactly.
It's like what are they gonna do? Tow my car? Well, yeah, they are
yeah,
now.
they are.
Oh, God.
Driver Cynthia Curry mentioned in this article from Fox 6, she said she got put on a payment plan because
Yeah.
she was so far behind after her car got towed. She said it's a great option. Get on a payment plan and work it out. I
Yep.
had some situations come up where my car got towed, money was short. I had to pay it, so I got on a payment plan. I mean, that's better than having your car towed. Pay $5 a month or whatever.
Yeah. So there are options for people instead of just avoiding it forever. So there's that. There's another towing cars related story coming out of Milwaukee. The state legislature approved a bill allowing Milwaukee to tow vehicles that have been associated with reckless driving,
What?
which I actually think is a good thing.
I think that's a great thing.
I think if they find a car parked somewhere that they like, hey, this has tickets or whatever dealing with reckless driving,
Yeah.
they can just tow it now.
But then what if that
I think
car...
the city has to like approve it in its budget this year to finalize, but the state kind of like created the
But
mechanism to
I
allow
worry
them to
now
do that.
about people whose cars were stolen and then used by kids using it as joyrides. They're
Yeah.
the ones who are going to get punished for that, ultimately.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's
We have-
exactly what I was thinking too.
We have news coming up next. When we return, we're going to lighten it up. It's time for a little audio sorbet. We'll talk all things Halloween and do a special tribute to a song that debuted 50 years ago today. Stay with us. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life it just begun.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvinator on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Dan Schaefer is here, Civic Media's political editor, also the creator of the multi-award-winning Recombobulation Area. And this is the portion of the program where we call it Audio Sorbet.
Mm-hmm.
We lighten things up, get away from the news, take a breath, so we can all recombobulate, essentially.
And clean our ears with fun.
The official title of the Audio Sorbet segment. We had Calvin bump in with Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, which debuted today, 50 years ago today.
Whoa.
50 years. And I remember, if you watch the Queen documentary, there's a great documentary out about Queen. When they first played Bohemian Rhapsody for a record executive, he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean,
This is never going to sell.
it was. I mean, just the fact that it was over 3.5 minutes, they were like, "This is never going." You want a
You'll never get radio
You want a
play.
7-minute song on the radio with an opera section? Good luck. We'll see what happens. Never hear from them again.
Yeah. We never heard from that record executive
Exactly.
again. But it seemed to work out pretty well for Queen. I don't know anybody who doesn't know the words to that song now.
Oh, I know. It's such a classic.
We all sing along to it.
It's
and
like,
I think the Wayne's World, the
Gave it a
Wayne's
second
World
life.
scene gave it a second life,
Yes.
15 years after it was out, with Wayne and Garth rocking out to it. We've all done that, right? All
Yep.
cranked up
Yes.
Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody in the
Yes.
car and sang along and
Mamma
banged
mia,
our heads
mamma
to it.
mia,
Yeah.
mia, Figaro.
I heard
Yeah.
once a long time ago, someone said everybody. When you listen to La Bamba, everybody thinks they know how to speak Spanish. When you listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, everyone thinks they can sing opera because they'll get very floaty, like sing the first part, and as soon as the opera part, they're like, you just back stiffen and
Right.
get ready deep from the diaphragm, and then don't let anyone hear you sing.
Well, in tribute to the classic that is Bohemian Rhapsody,
Yes.
I found this on my social media last week. I think this is so fun.
Yeah,
Let's play this homage.
homage. Yes,
Homage, Calvin, to Bohemian Rhapsody. Play that clip, please. There's video we'll put in the show
Yeah,
notes.
yeah.
Rubber chickens.
Rubber chickens, people.
Rubber chickens.
Oh, that's good.
That's
It's,
a
oh, just wait. It
that's a
gets
C
better.
sharp, C sharp, D,
Nice, nice.
C sharp, C sharp.
Here we go.
Mm, mm.
High notes.
I've watched Jane watch this probably a dozen times, and she reacts every time like she's seeing it for the first time.
It just makes me happy.
Yeah, that's what.
It does.
Love it. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
You're
here,
like, there's,
wait, here we go. It's so good.
yeah.
It's so
Oh, my
good.
God.
I love how much
Amazing.
you love it.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody on Rubber Chickens. You have never seen anything like it. Will make your life better.
Coming to Radio City Music Hall this fall.
He's actually a concert.
He's a
pianist.
concert pianist. Yeah, he's got a great. And I'll his name. I don't know if I can pronounce his name, but he does these great videos about classical music, but makes them funny by just staring into the camera with this dead-eyed stare while playing this really complicated music. And now he's starting to do the Rubber Chicken
Oh.
one.
Yeah.
I saw him do a System of a Down song, and he's in
A tux.
He's in tails.
Yeah, he's in tails.
white tux tails, and he plays it with the vigor of a concert pianist, staring at the camera with all sorts of gusto.
And the Rubber Chickens are all on a string
Oh,
in
amazing.
front of him.
Yep.
It is
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's wonderful.
That mix of, fine art and something so deeply silly.
Right?
That's great
It's
stuff.
mwah.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. So if you want to see the video element, and I highly encourage that you do,
Yeah.
it'll make your day better.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll include that in our show notes after the show is over. Go to civicmedia.us, click on shows, go to Matenaer On Air, and enjoy.
Mhm.
Spread it around.
Tell a friend.
Spread some joy today.
Spread the joy.
With some rubber chickens doing Bohemian Rhapsody. All right. We can talk about Halloween now that I got that out of my system. I've been sitting on that for a couple of weeks.
You have been.
Because,
Yeah,
again,
absolutely.
I just think
Getting
it's-
ready for the anniversary of the song to kind of find
Yes.
it,
That's
find that
exactly
hook.
what we were doing, Dan. We
Yes.
planned it to the hilt.
Lots of preparation for this.
Yes, yes.
Let's talk Halloween. Halloween costumes, your favorite. What have you have done in the past that was a huge hit?
Yeah.
What are you going as this year? What are your kids dressing up as? What is the hot Halloween costume? 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. I know you went out with your girls last weekend.
That's right. Yeah, I live in probably I will say the best neighborhood in the world for Halloween, Washington Heights on the west side of Milwaukee. They block off like 7 or 8 city blocks.
Dang.
And they have competitions with each block against each other to have the
wow.
best decorations. It's called the Washington Heights Spooktacular. It's one of my favorite events that we have every year. It's always the Saturday before Halloween. We had an absolute blast. The kids look forward to it for months. And I have 2 daughters, as you know. And so they went as the 2 witches from Wicked. So Glinda the Good Witch and
Elphaba.
And so they went back and forth for months about who was going to be which one. And my oldest ended up going as Elphaba, the Wicked Witch. And she painted her face green and all of that. That green paint was on there for a couple days.
Was it really?
She looked sick. For a couple days after.
I don't know how to say this. I'm not trying to insult your children. They're wonderful children. I hear great things about them. I really would have expected her to be Glinda. I don't know why. The way you described your youngest, she's got that energy that seems
She's
like
the
Elphaba.
But she's the sparkly girl.
But she wanted
True.
the sparkles.
The younger one is the sparkly
You're
girl.
right. You're right.
She's the one after my own heart.
My niece went as
Yes.
Elphaba as well, and she was caked in green makeup. And I'm like, good luck with that. But she looked so cute. I'm pretty sure my nephew went dressed as a monster truck.
Oh, I like that.
He loves monster
That's
trucks.
good.
Yeah.
So were you?
And I was the wizard.
Nice.
I was the wizard. So I basically just did a Jeff Goldblum impression the whole night.
Go ahead.
I must go faster. Must go faster.
Best Halloween costumes. What are you doing to celebrate the holiday? 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. Jenny on the live stream says Washington Heights and Bayview have the
Bayview, yeah.
best Halloween celebrations in Wisconsin.
The street the name is escaping me, even though I lived there for 7 years. But there's one street specifically in Bayview that's the same.
South
idea.
Superior, I think. Right?
No, it's on the other side. I'm gonna look it up, but they are like it is.
Go all out.
It is all, and it's multiple houses, and this has to be thousands of dollars every year spending because they're basically making what looks like mini movie sets on their front lawn.
We have one like that in our neighborhood, and our trick-or-treat is tonight. We always do
Same with ours.
nighttime trick-or-treating the Friday before Halloween. Now it lines up nicely because it's actually Halloween. But there is one house in our neighborhood that has a whole backdrop in front of their house and 9-foot skeletons and monsters, and people just go all out. It's really impressive.
There was one house in Washington Heights where they did a whole scene, a Godzilla scene. So they built these like fake looking towers, and somebody in a Godzilla suit was walking around knocking them down, and then another guy in a construction vest was like putting them back up, building them back up.
Awesome.
It was
Wow.
incredible. Yeah, real commitment there.
Is the competition in Washington Heights between the neighbors? Is it good, or do you hear murmurs of like not sabotage, but like, oh, we've got to be better than this street? This, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I don't,
people who take it too seriously.
It's a very friendly competition.
Good. All right. Excellent. Excellent.
There's
Excellent.
It's for the kids.
855, of course it is.
Yeah.
855-752-4842. Talking all things Halloween. Ollie from the Northwoods is joining us. Good morning, Ollie. Are you dressing up this year?
Louise, I wish I lived in Washington Heights.
It sounds great, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I don't have the greatest costumes. I have 2 of the worst costumes our mother made. We were poor. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
And one year she dressed me up as a pumpkin that was made with cloth and coat hangers. unfortunately, she forgot to realize that when she sent me off to the church um, party, that I couldn't sit down because I couldn't sit down in that costume. And another costume that she made my sister and I was she sewed 2 sheets together and made us go as Siamese twins.
Oh, boy.
Well, it's pretty hard to trick or treat as Siamese twins.
Oh my gosh, Allie, that is hilarious. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
you
you very
checking
much.
in. 855-752-4842. What are you doing for Halloween? Are you dressing up? Maybe you've had a Halloween costume from the past that you thought was pretty spectacular. Jenny, again on the live stream. In honor of the final season of Stranger Things premiering next month, I will be the L to my dog's Eggo waffle.
What?
Stranger Things.
They-
I
see-
almost, it's been so long since there was an episode. I forget
I would have
what
to-
happens.
I will have to
but yeah, 11,
remind myself.
11 and the
11.
and the Eggo waffles. I do remember that.
Right,
Okay, all right.
right.
Do you have a costume of great memory for
My
yourself?
favorite costume I ever did one year, I was Britney Spears in 20 years. So this goes back to her schoolgirl phase.
Oh boy.
So I did the patent leather shoes and the knee socks, and I had a short little plaid skirt. And then I took 2 balloons and I blew them up and I filled them with Jell-O. And then I stuffed those in my shirt and I blacked out a couple of teeth and drew a bunch of lines on my face and braided my hair in little braids. And I was Britney Spears in 20 years, which was great, except towards the end of the night, the Jell-O started to melt. So I would turn and I would slosh.
Okay.
So it was a costume with a little movement. And actually, if you're watching on the live stream this morning, you can tune in. This is my costume.
What are
I'm
you
wearing it right now. I am a postmenopausal childless woman. I'm the GOP's biggest nightmare. How?
And I was saying I am the GOP's biggest disappointment. I am a 40-something white man with no children whose wife makes more than him. Oh my God! There it is. They're here.
It's horrifying.
Dan, do you have any non-children like you went to a party or you and your wife went to a party? Do you have any costumes that stick out for you in your memory?
So I'm not a big Halloween guy.
Same
I'll
here.
play along. I'll do it. So here's a great example of how my approach to Halloween. So my wife gets very into it. She's great. She did this absolutely all out, perfect to the nines Cleopatra costume
nice.
one year. Sorry, discombobulated. Cleopatra costume one year, and I just kind of found this Julius Caesar toga thing at Goodwill at the last minute. And so we went to this party that was at a bar in Milwaukee or whatever. And like this woman comes up to my wife and she's just like, "Oh, you have the most amazing costume I've ever seen." And she looks over at me and goes, "I like how you almost tried."
Oh,
And that's my approach to Halloween. I almost try. I'm playing along. I'm just there to make my wife
By
look
the
good.
way, Ronnie from Horicon checking in, listening on WAUK, referring, I'm assuming, to the Rubber Chicken tribute to Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my God, my dogs are going nuts. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Stay close. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. Everybody sing. Good morning and welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Calvinator on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Our thanks to Dan Schaefer for joining us for the show today from the Recombobulation area, also Civic Media's political editor. Highly encourage you to subscribe to the Recombobulation area. Dan does amazing work.
Yes, he does.
Breaking down elections, breaking down polls, very southeastern Wisconsin specific. So if you live around here, it's a great thing to subscribe to.
Multi-award-winning website, multi-award-winning reporters there. Recombobulation area is a great place, and it's very affordable too. It does not cost a lot of money to support local news, which is what we need more now than any time in the world.
Without a doubt,
local news, and we're seeing national news services getting gutted. So. Subscribe now.
Subscribe today.
Really quick, I just wanted to mention something that was it earlier this week or last week? Time's a construct. But we had Madeline Anderson and James Flores from the Milwaukee Public Museum here talking about everything going on. And one of the things they were doing is celebrating Native American Heritage Month.
Yes.
And tomorrow at the Public Museum will be a powwow, the first ever powwow at Milwaukee Public Museum this Saturday, the Three Rivers Powwow, and you are invited to go. The media
open
is
to
going
the
to
public.
They send it to us, but it's open to the public. They'd love to see people out there, but it is going to be November 1st. You can check their website for the time, and it's going to be on their second floor. So I just wanted to pass that along. If you want to see something wonderful, go to this powwow, experience it, and find out more about this wonderful culture in the state.
And if you do go, ask the dancers about their regalia, because there's a lot of stories behind what they're wearing, and the incredible beadwork and the incredible needlework that they do on these. It's fabulous.
Yes,
So check it out and support our Milwaukee Public Museum. It is just about 10:55, Calvin. That means it's time for.
This shouldn't be a thing.
If you ever find a thing you think this shouldn't be, send it into Greg and me at Jane Says at civicmedia.us. JANESAYS, Jane Says at civicmedia.us. We've been doing Halloween-themed Tisbets all week. We'll wrap it up with this one from UPI. Ben Hooper coming through again.
Oh, man.
We love this guy. Headline reads, Utah man drops 1,917-pound pumpkin onto his Geo Metro.
Geo Metro. Kids, ask your Meemaw.
Yeah, there's a video element included that I highly encourage you to check out. It will be in our show notes. A Utah man said a final farewell to his Geo Metro he drove for 35 years by dropping a 1,970-pound pumpkin from a height of about 14 stories. I'm just looking at the still photo from this. It looks like a boulder. It's a boulder that's almost as big as this car.
Yeah,
but it's a pumpkin.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
Millville resident Albert Gerbert said his 91 Geo Metro finally stopped running this year, 35 years. So he decided to send it off in style by destroying it as one does with a giant pumpkin. His 1,917-pound pumpkin took first place at the Utah Giant Pumpkin Festival Way-Off, was hoisted 14 stories in the air by a crane, and then dropped onto the 35-year-old compact car, caving it in a spectacular fashion. Gebert says, quote, "It's just something that we've talked about. Me and my wife have talked about for a long time. I guess you've been sitting around. What should we do with it? You know what would be fun? We decided this would be the best way for it to go, and it happened, and it's been kind of fun."
They own that car 25 years longer than the car company was in existence.
That's amazing.
Because Geo was a thing for a moment. There were car companies back in the night. The Saturn, the Geo, all these car companies that came out. You're like, oh, wow, they got some competition. Gone. But yeah, the Geo car company lasted 10 years. This guy had it for 35. Good. Wait a minute. Did they say at all how many miles was on it?
He does not have the amount of miles.
Oh.
It must have been really impressive.
I'm gonna guess between 450 to 675,000.
You have to replace the engine
at
some point.
yeah.
I mean, right?
I'm sure, but a Geo Metro, that was probably what you just take that out of like a shaver and just put it in there because it's like a tiny little engine. And it's like, or just actually put
take it out of your Roomba and you can run your Geo Metro.
Put tiny horses in there. It would work.
Well done.
I would totally do that.
Alan and his wife saying goodbye to their Geo Metro, 35 years old, dropping almost a 2,000-pound pumpkin on it.
It's a ton of fun.
Check it out. Nice. In our show notes, go to civicmedia.us at the very top, click on shows, and then go to Matenaer On Air, and we have about 2 months worth of archives.
We have a whole section for This Shouldn't Be a Thing as well on that webpage, so you can find all of our Tisbats
right there.
Securely and beautifully curated in one section. You can listen to them all. You can listen to them all in a day, probably.
Calvin, that wraps up today's episode of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Coming up on Monday, Civic Media's news director, Shali Pittman, will be here. Hour number 2, Greg Bach. We have a special announcement.
A special announcement?
A special announcement coming up on the show on Monday after the 10 o'clock news. I hope you can join us.
I'll be president.
You'll be here. You better be here.
I'll be here.
All right. Thank you, Greg and Calvin, and all of our engineers and everyone at Civic. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and texting and listening and watching on the live stream. It means the world. I hope you find some joy over the weekend and you have the chance to share it. Keep it right here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Have a great weekend. Happy Halloween. We'll see you Monday.